Hello. Today we're going to be talking about setting up Win4IcomSuite for the DStar repeater mode on the IC9700 and the IC7100. Later on in this video we'll talk about satellite mode for the IC9700. What I am going to describe is applicable with a direct connection to the radio via USB cable or over a network using Win4IcomSuite's client-server utility. To start with, the DStar repeater mode is accessed from up here in Window, DStar repeater mode. This opens up a utility which allows you to set the various parameters on your radio. I'll start with a brief discussion of how this Windows works. I'm assuming that you have some knowledge of DStar operation. Basically, there are 5 sections. The top section contains the call sign that makes up the your call sign. You can select from several of these, such as CQ, 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 REF 001CL, as well as others. The from section contains the repeater that you wish to connect to. This can be selected by a drop-down list or manually configured. Next, we have a section that informs the user what the status is of the DStar programming in the radio. When you make changes such as your call or select a repeater or the frequency of the radio changes, the internal programming of the radio is no longer valid. When that happens, the button here will change to update and the green indicator will change to red. I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to change the frequency. Okay, so now I've changed the frequency and it tells you DStar connection not configured. Okay, so once you've made changes, you have to whatever they are, either your call sign, select a repeater, you have to click on the update button. So I've clicked on it and now the settings are correct. I'll get back to that a little bit later. Okay, the next section contains various messages that come from the gateway and over the DStar network, such as the user and repeater messages. And the final section is the TX message and my call sign part of the DStar repeater mode. Now the TX message in particular you can change here, and it will update the settings in the radio. However, it will overwrite whatever was currently written on the radio. Same thing for the my call sign entry. Even if you have a list of several of my call signs in, that list is not accessible via software to any program. And so basically what one has to do is, if you need to change it, you'll need to change it here, but it will overwrite the one that is on the radio. So the best thing is if this is your regular call sign and you change it, you then need to click on update, and it will have overwritten what's in the radio. But if you want to go back to there when you're finished, just put it back to the original my call sign and then click on update. All right, we're going to move on now to configuring the to part and the from part. Please note that most of what I'm saying is also available in the help button here. So if you click on the help button, you will get a PDF that is opened on your computer, and it will give you all the information you need in a written form right here. All right, next let's start with configuring the from section over here by populating Win4IcomSuite with a list of DStar repeaters. This is necessary because the list in the radio is not accessible via software. Therefore, you need to do this the first time you open the DStar repeater mode screen. If you click on select a repeater button, you will see the following message. If you use RTSystems software, you can export your DStar repeater memories. what you would need to do is open the DR memory sheet and then select file export and choose comma delimited files. Now, not everyone has RTSystems software, so the other option is to please go to DStarInfo.com/repeater downloads and download your list of repeaters for the IC7100A. Then press the import button. So let's start with that. I'm going to click on OK. And as you can see, I have a blank list of repeaters here. So I'm now going to connect up to the DStarInfo. So here's the page from the DStarInfo. As you can see, you've got repeater list downloads. Now this is very, very simple. All you need to do is enter a location. So I'm picking Montreal. And then you can click on Lookup Location. And then it tells you we found the following location, Montreal, QC, Canada. What this will do is select the correct repeater list for your region. So in the case of Canada and USA, if I enter any city anywhere in North America, I will get the North America list. Okay, the next thing I want to do is to select the radio. Well, it's not available yet for the IC9700, and it doesn't really matter because the lists are all similar. So I'm going to pick the IC7100A list. So if I click on that, okay, it tells you how many repeaters there are and so forth, and then I'm going to click on download. Okay, so as you can see, I end up with a CSV file, which is a comma separated values file. Okay, so I've already downloaded it. Now it's time to actually load it. So if I come into my repeater list here, I can click on import. Okay, and this one will be in my download section. It'll be the latest one, so I'll just click on that. And there we go. The repeater list is loaded. How simple is that? It's much simpler than actually trying to get on the radio a list of the repeaters. Okay, once you have the screen set up, there's a lot of things you can do. You can put in the country, you can put in the state, you can put in a city. So I'm going to take Quebec because I live in Quebec. So I can, I can enter that and I can click on search. This then gives me a list of all of the various repeaters in Quebec. The one that I'm going to choose is the one in Mont Saint Gregoire because that one seems to be the most reliable. So all I need to do is double click on it, and then it fills in all the information that you need. The city, the state, the UTC offset, the frequency. The TX frequency is not listed, but that is based on the offset and the duplex. And it tells you what the repeater names are. Once I've got that, that's pretty good. That's all I need to do. At any point in the future, I can just change this, come in here, it keeps the last query, so it makes it easy to just go back to your region, and that's it. Okay. Now, what if you have RTSystems software? Well, RTSystems software gives you the ability to save all of the information that's in your radio via a clone mode. Okay, that is a specialized mode which basically does a memory dump of the radio and loads it into the software. Now I have an example here of that, which was done from the for the IC7100, and I'm going to open that. Okay. Now, once you open this, there's a number of tabs on the bottom. You've got band A, band B, and so forth. Limit memories, DR memories. That's what I'm going to click on. As you can see, there's a whole bunch in here. Okay, probably about 900. Okay. So I've already programmed my radio with this and everything. Now I want to get this information into Win4IcomSuite. So what I'm going to do is, as long as I've selected up DR memories, I can do the following. I could say File, Export, and I give it a new name, Demo List, and I'm going to, well, I won't put it there. I'll put it into Downloads just for consistency. Downloads. Okay, and then the other thing you need to do is to come where it says Tab Delimited and change that to comma delimited. Okay, and then I just click on Save. and that's it. Can then close this. I can go up into select your repeater. I can then click on import, and I got the demo list. I can click on it, and there we go. And once again, I can pick the area I want, and there we go. So in my case this time, this is a different list. I actually like the other list better, but I will put in Montreal and search on that. Okay, and this is the one I usually use. I can pick that, and the repeater's all set up. Notice it hasn't changed because I've always been using the status has not changed because I've always been using the same one. Anyways, so that's how you set up the status part. Now, select your repeater part. Now, once you've done that, you also need to select your call sign. By default, if I click on this, the CQ is already set in Win4Icom. Okay, all of this list was also obtained from the DStar settings in RTSystems. However, you can go in and manually change this. So if you come here and you want to change one of these to something else, you can just click and then make the update, okay, and then it will be saved. So you can manually enter this, or if you have a list in Excel, you can copy and paste. Same thing for the repeater mode. But let's talk about using the RTSystems to do this. So the first thing you do is you're going to want to open it. Then you're going to want to come into the settings for RTSystems, and we will come up into DR memories, and then you will come up here to where it says DStar, and then you click on DStar settings. What you will then see is a list of call signs, okay, that you can copy and paste into Win4IcomSuite. Now, a lot of what I'm showing you came from K1KDA, Ken, who is very, very helpful in helping me get the DStar mode down just right so it'll be easy to use. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to just select, let's say, not the whole list, but there we go, right up to there. I will then press Control C or go copy by right clicking, and that's it. I can close this. Then I can come in here and then I can click on a particular cell. Make sure you don't click twice because that's edit mode, and everything that you just copied and pasted will go in there. So instead I'm just going to pick that like that, and I'm going to say paste from Excel or RTSystems, and it all goes in. Of course I've already done it, but you get the idea. Okay, so that's how you configure the DStar repeater mode for Win4IcomSuite. Now to use, of course, you've got your call signs here and you've got your repeater. Normally you won't change this, but the call sign you will change on a number of occasions. So the first thing I want to do is I want to make sure that I got the one that I want to use, and so I'm going to click on update, and that has programmed the radio accordingly. However, you also want to be able to, you also need to transmit that information to the repeater. So what you do in that case is you come up here and you click on the RX button. Just click on that, which puts it into TX mode. You can see the frequency and you can see on here that that's happening, and then you turn it off. Okay, and then you'll get a small response from the radio, from the repeater, and so on. If you want to link to a reflector, okay, at that point you're going to say select your call sign. You're going to pick one. I'll take 01 Charlie here. I'll double click on it. That sets it. Again, it'll say DStar connection not configure. You'll click on update, but then you will also need to send that to the repeater. So once again, I will click on here. Okay, that will send the data over to the repeater. And now all of a sudden, I can hear people online with the radio, from the reflector. There we go. Now, if you want to talk on the reflector, don't forget to change this back to CQ and then do an update. Otherwise, you will be continuously linking to the reflector. That's basically it for the DStar repeater mode. I hope this part was clear, and as I mentioned before, everything's available in the help section. Now I'm going to be talking about satellite mode on the IC9700. This mode has a number of different operational idiosyncrasies that are different than the usual HF transceiver, and I'll describe these now. To access satellite mode, you click on the satellite button. This puts the radio into satellite mode. Okay. In particular, it sets the radio so that you're receiving on this frequency up here and you are transmitting on this frequency down here. That's the two receivers. Okay. You can change these frequencies by just clicking in there and changing them, and all of that works very nicely. Okay. However, if you want to change bands, it becomes a little more complicated, okay, because the IC9700 does not let you be on the same band for receive and transmit. They have to be different. So if I wanted this to become 2 meters, what I would have to do is, if I try to click on 2 meters, it will not change. Notice that. Okay, so what I have to do is I have to swap these two, making the frequency here now the receive frequency and this frequency now becoming the transmit. So to do that, I click on main/sub radio swap. Now you can see I've got the appropriate frequency up here. Okay. Next, the sub radio itself is not directly accessible via software. Therefore, if you have software such as SatPC, which automatically updates the receive frequency and the transmit frequency, it will work on the radio. If you look at the radio, you'll see the main and the sub switching constantly, well, whenever it does its update. Now, this by default does not show up in Win4IcomSuite. However, to see the actual changes that are occurring, you click on the TX update button. Okay? Then it will actually show the changes when a third-party product actually makes the change. Now, the TX update, okay, has 3 modes. It can go in fast, which will be an update about once every second. You've got medium, which will be approximately once every 5 seconds, and slow, approximately once every 10 seconds. In principle, you don't need to change this at all. You don't need tracking available with SatPC because the radio is actually going to be doing the update. But if you want to see that it's actually working, make sure it's on, and then also make sure, I say medium is a good speed. So every 5 seconds or so, you will see an update on the transmit frequency. Another option in satellite mode is this tracking duplex button. Okay, this button, when you're in satellite mode, allows the transmit frequency to track the receive frequency. Okay, and you have basically 2 modes, track plus. So if I increase the receive frequency, the transmit frequency increases, or if I go minus, okay, then it goes the opposite direction. I'll show that in operation now. I have TX update enabled so that I can actually see what's happening on there, and then I'm going to click on, make this go fast so it's a little easier to follow. So if I come up here and I change this, you'll see that as this increases, the transmit frequency decreases. Okay, this is useful if you're going to be manually tracking a satellite. So basically that's the satellite mode, and I'll now give a brief description of how you use this with SatPC. Okay, now I'm going to give a brief description of how to use SatPC with Win4IcomSuite. What I'm going to be talking about uses the third-party facility in Win4Icom, which basically provides 6 virtual radios that can be used both locally when you're connected directly to the radio or if you're operating remotely. Thus, you can actually have several different products running at the same time. You can have WSJT, you can have a logging program, DX Lab Commander, you can have N1MM, anything you wish. The capability of the third-party software is available if you go to my website under icom.va2fsq.com and you go into the menu and you select documentation and you select third-party software. And you select video tutorials. In there is a complete description of setup of third-party software and virtual radios. It goes through the whole thing in excruciating details. I'm not going to get into it now, but please take a look at that video. It will clear up a lot of things. Now, in this particular case, I have already created a virtual pair using COM0COM, and the pair that I'm using is COM16 and 17. Now what this is it acts just like a cable, okay, between 2 software products. It's just crossing the receive and transmit lines, okay. So in Win4Icom, I typically use the higher one, so COM17 for example, and then any software that will connect to COM16 will then use the virtual radio on Win4Icom. So I'm going to open that up, Tools, Settings, whoops, and under Third-Party Software, here we have the first port, the first virtual radio setup, COM17, okay, and that's right here. Now COM16 will be used by SatPC to connect through Win4Icom to the radio. Now, the way SatPC works by swapping the various main and subreceiver, I don't recommend that you run any other software on the port at the same time. Otherwise, for example, if you have WSJT on there, it's going to look a little strange with the frequencies changing all the time. So just run SatPC. Okay, so this is already set up. Now, all I need to do is start SatPC. So I'm going to click on SatPC. I'm going to start it, and that will bring it up. Now, SatPC doesn't save the size and position, which is a little bit unfortunate, but we can just modify that a bit to make it fit. And there we go. Now, the first thing you're going to notice is that it has set the receive frequency to be the same as shown up here, and the transmit frequency to be the same as shown here. It has also set the appropriate modes on all of the various for the 2 transceivers. Now, as you can see, as it changes, it's getting updated there, and it's also getting updated in here for the transmit frequency. Okay, this is because TX update is on. If I turn that off, you won't see this anymore. You won't see the updates here anymore. However, if you were to look at the radio, you will see that SatPC is doing this anyways as necessary. Okay, so I like to keep it on. Okay, the other thing you need to consider is that the tracking should not be on, because you don't want Win4Icom going ahead and changing the frequency every time it sees it change here, also changing it there. It is done automatically by SatPC. Now, as I mentioned before, what we have is the virtual radio between COM17 and the virtual radio connected to COM17. Then if I look at the settings for SatPC, and I believe that is in setup radio setup, you'll see that the COM port right here is 16. Okay, so you got the cable connected from COM17 here and COM16 there. Now I'm using the settings for the IC9100, okay, and the baud rate is set at 19200. That has to match in the third-party settings with Win4IcomSuite. And then the other thing are the addresses. Now this is interesting. I mean, I have set it up to be hex 8A, which is used by the 9700, but because of the way that Win4IcomSuite works, the address is really not that important, because Win4IcomSuite on the virtual radios will translate the address, whatever is supplied, it will translate it to what is needed by the radio, and it will return the original value back to the software. I did this so that older third-party products that don't have the facility to change this will still work. So basically that's it, and as you can see, everything's following along nicely. You can come in and change it if you need to. I believe it will automatically update what you need. And the nice thing is when you see a satellite and you're looking on the spectrum scope, you will see that the satellite is slowly moving across the passband. So it gives you a nice way to follow the satellite and hear if everything's going correctly. This is more important in manual mode because SatPC does a good job. So basically that's it. That's how to use satellite mode on the IC9700. Please note that if you want to use the HRD Satellite Tracker software, it currently does not support the IC9700, and the IC9100 mode does not work properly. So I would wait until they come up with an update, and then you can use that software. I will make the changes if necessary to Win4IcomSuite to support the HRD satellite tracking program when that happens. Thanks for listening. I hope that this was very informative.